Welcome back to What Arty Noobs for General Disturbance. This is the M53, M55, the Tier 9 American SPG. This one's located on the south spawn of Redshire under the command of talon1958. Game on! Well, this was Talon's response to Angelina's videos. Yes, unfortunately, Angelina is well in the lead now with a first class and a Confederate, as you may have seen. And that means Talon's playing catch up, because yes, he allowed Angelina to get that lead by allowing her to use a replay from the Saturday before her last lie-in. And it now very much looks like Talon's going to end up giving her the lie-in this weekend. Okay, the M53, M55, based on the pattern tank in reverse, of course, because the engine's up front on this one, not in the rear, and with a huge turret on the back, which has got an arc of 60 degrees, 30 degrees either side of the centre line, and a massive 8-inch howitzer, which is capable of doing 900 alpha, penetrating 52mm of armour. Talon's just positioning himself at the moment. He's got a lovely arc there. You can see that there's loads of enemy tanks he can hit. And the first one he's going for is a Lorraine 50 ton. Rounds out. Direct hit! Right on the money with his first shot. The guy was moving backwards and forwards about a certain spot. And of course Talon could see that. And therefore he knew that he only had to pick the centre of that spot to actually get a direct hit. And it worked. Okay, these guys are now going to the corner because there's our tanks at the other side, and so all he has to do is basically wait until they come to a stop to actually try and side scrape on our teammates, and he can launch around in. In fact, he's decided he's going to go for this IS-5 a little further back, rounds out on him. Another direct hit, this time on his front plate, but it was only 53 hit points. It hit the hardest armor on the tank, the upper plate of a Soviet heavy. Well, actually, the hardest armor on the Soviet heavy is really the turret, but he certainly did hit one of the hard spots. Okay, we've got a Swedish heavy now, the Emil 1. Now, the turret's fairly strong, but of course it does have weak spots on the side, and Talon's almost loaded. He's just picking his spot. That looks good. Rounds out. Right into the side, and he got a big penetrating shot there. 899, a low roll, but only by 1 hit point. It would have been an average roll otherwise, but he did hit the weak spot. In fact, it looks to me like the shell might have actually hit the engine deck rather than the turret, but it was definitely a penetrating shot. I'm not sure. I'm trying to see if he can actually spot. Oh, it was the turret. Yes, we can see it actually hit the auto-loading mechanism at the back of the tank, or the back of the turret. So that's why it was such a good shot and such a high hit points earner. Now he's loaded, but he's just picking his spot. Rounds out. Looks like this is going to hit as well. Except this time round, it actually landed behind the Emil and splashed him for 237. You can see there's a lot of tank action going on, close-in action. Of course, the Zeppelin is a very difficult target or area to fire at because, of course, it was designed with the purpose of actually throwing off RT shells because, of course, if you fire a shell in there, there's a fairly good chance you're going to hit the Zeppelin itself rather than the enemy tanks. But they did leave a few gaps to enable Arty to play. He fires around at the Emil. Oh, unfortunately the shell fell short, but the Emil has gone down anyway, taken out by our IS-6B. At the moment it's a fairly even exchange. We're 1 up on the enemy, so really no difference. And Talon's worked out that he can put a shell through the Zeppelin into the, I think it was the IS-6, or was it an IS-5? The IS-5. I'm not so sure you can get a shot on that IS-3 too, though, because the Zeppelin appears to be covering, and we can see that the enemy RT is also firing shells the opposite way through the gaps in the Zeppelin shell. He fires around at the IS-5. And the shell does go through and splashes him for 175. So he is earning hit points, but not a huge amount. Not just that big hit on the Emil so far. Now this is interesting. This is a T-34 Tier 8 American Heavy, the premium. And he's sitting back, a long way back, and shooting from a distance as a sniper. Which is probably not what this tank was really designed to do. But he's going to give it a go and see if he can hit this one. He's tracked at the moment. Rounds out. Looks good. It is. It landed on the engine deck. You can see the mark, the little yellow mark on top of the engine deck where it impacted. That's what's good about these mods, the Aslings mods actually we use. Because it does allow you to see exactly where on the vehicle the shell hits. Usually it's a little hole if it does penetrate through, or if it's a splash, you'll just see a mark of yellow, a smear. He's ready to go. Okay, he's loaded. Just pick the spot. Rounds out, looks good. Yeah, he's rocking about that spot. It actually went over the top. RNG said no, and the shell went over the top. We're 2 tanks up on the enemy at the moment, but have you noticed something on the minimap? There's one whole segment around the castle area which is not covered. So the enemy could have slipped through there and nobody would be any the wiser. And Talon's decided that the better thing for him to do is to actually head towards the Zeppelin, because if he stays where he is, he might meet the enemy tanks that are coming down the other side. At least if he moves over to the Zeppelin, he's got a chance of shooting at the enemy tanks if they do try to make it to our cap. It also means that he will have the enemy tanks to the north in front of his tanks before they ever get to him. Now, as we can see on the minimap so far, only 4 of the enemy vehicles are actually accounted for. There are still 6 enemy vehicles out there. So there's 2, we don't know where they are. And those are only the last known positions of those vehicles. We don't know where they are precisely at this moment. And as he, quite rightly surmised, they could be coming down the west side of the map right now. Well, they found one of them. It's the Canonian Jagdpanzer, and he's near the copse. And they found another one. I think that may be the Arty, but we'll have to wait and see. He's positioned himself this side of the Zeppelin to actually get shots. He's firing into the copse. Oh, it's the Charioteer and the Canonian Jagdpanzer. He fires around in, and I'm pretty sure that would have been near the Canonian Jagdpanzer. At this point in the game, yes, he was quite right to move, and unfortunately the 212A on his team didn't move, and now he's met the AMX 1390 and been killed. So not so good for our 212, but good for Talon, because at least he did the smart move. Our team are now advancing, pushing to the west, and now will be a good time for Talon to get into the cap area and force the enemy to come to him, and that will force the little light tank, the AMX 1390, which is the last enemy alive now, because they've dealt with the others, the Progetto, the Canonian Jagdpanzer, the Charioteer. They've all gone. And now he can sit in the cap and shoot back at anyone who tries to come north and reset the cap. And we can see the AMX 1390 actually followed the track of Talon, and he went up towards the Zeppelin thinking he could find Talon, but Talon's too smart for that. He's actually moved to the enemy cap area instead. He fires a quick snap at the AMX 1390. Oh, he tracked it. He actually tracked him and he stunned him. And now the 1390 is taking damage. Yeah, he got some stun assist off the 1390. 409 hit points of that. But he got rid of the stun fairly quickly, and now he's on the move again. In fact, he's been joined in the cap now by the T69 because they realised that the 1390 is going to run around the map as fast as he can. And even though they want that extra XP, I'm sure the others would forgive him if it did go to a cap out. Rounds out. Oh, they got him just as they capped out. Nice shot from the Char Future 4, and that's the end of the game. Here's the end of battle stats, and that was the third-class tanker for talon1958 in the M53 M55. He got a Bruce medal for getting at least 5 critical hits. In fact, he got 7. But I'm afraid he didn't get any other medals in the game because he didn't hit enough of the enemy. He was mostly firing towards the Zeppelin and hitting the same tanks again and again. And as a consequence, he didn't get a Confederate. And that's actually, well, sadly, it means that this attempt to win the Weekend Lion has failed. His win rate was 1948, which is actually very good, but not great. In fact, he did use the PNSPG very, very well indeed. Smart, because he actually stayed alive. The 212A didn't. And he should have learned. The moment he saw Talon hiking off into the distance, he should have followed him, but he didn't. And unfortunately, that's why he was out the game. Talon didn't get the highest damage in the game, but he did get some very nice shots in there, including that penetrating shot on the Emil. The highest damage in the game actually went to our Emil 2, with 4,081 hit points. Second highest damage was the Progetto 46 on the enemy team, 3,056, and I think he was playing the sniper role in that game, shooting towards the Zeppelin from cover. And the third highest damage in the game turned out to be the Char M55. He got 2,831. Talon got 2,262, which is pretty good actually. It's not a bad score. But sadly, as I said, he didn't hit enough of the enemy to actually get any kills or any Confederate. When it came to kills, it's actually the Char Future 4 did the best with 4 kills. 3 kills went to the AMX 1390, and 2 kills went to the T69, who also picked up a Pascucci's medal, so he was the one who killed both the enemy Arty. And 2 kills also went to the Scorpion G. On the enemy team, 3 players managed to get 2 kills. The Progetto 46, their M53, M55, so he was having a good time. And the Emil 1 that Talon actually struck with that big hit, he also got 2 kills. Talon, no kills at all, I'm afraid. Yes, he was in a supporting role. He was just stunning and hitting the enemy, trying to extract their hit points. And he did have some success with that, but he just didn't hit enough enemy tanks in total to actually make a difference. When it came to base XP, it was the Emil 2 who did the best with 1,003. He's the only player to get over 1,000. T69, the fellow capper, yes, he managed to get 967. And third place was the Char Future 4, who got the final kill of the game, 933. Talon only got 775 out of that, which puts him in 5th place overall. He fired 11 shots. So again, you can see he didn't have a huge amount of shells he actually fired. He actually just was trying to hit targets that were actually moving in and out of the cover of the Zeppelin, and that made it difficult for him. If he'd actually fired maybe about 13 or 14 shells, he might have been able to hit enough of the enemy to actually get those extra points. I suggest actually, when he was firing at that T-34, once he got the shot actually bang on target with the T-34, he could have actually moved to whoever was actually sitting in the trees behind him, because I think that was the Progetto. And that might have actually been another hit where he could have got closer to that Confederate. He got 4 direct hits on the enemy, 1 penetration. We know the penetration was the Emil 1. 9 splash as well. Damage of 2,262, all of it at more than 300 meters. He damaged 4 of the enemy, so he only missed out on getting a Confederate by 2 hits. And 1,126 hit points of stun assist off 10 stuns. He also managed to get 62 capture points whilst they were sitting in the cap. In fact, actually, they did cap out at the end of the game, but they also killed the last enemy, the AMX 1390, while he was on the move. 38,346 credits on a premium account and 80,000 for mission completion. A total of 118,346 altogether. And after ammunition resupply, took away 97,776 credits profit. 1,162 XP times 2 for the first victory, 2,325 experience points altogether. So yes, I think you can say that Talon was successful in one thing in that battle, more than anything else, was that he stayed alive. The 212 didn't. He actually stayed behind and wasn't watching his minimap, and just totally forgot that one side of the battlefield was not covered. And Talon didn't forget that. He saw it on his minimap. He knew exactly what he had to do. He had to follow the tanks and move over to the east side of the map as quickly as possible to get away from that 1390, and that way he actually avoided getting killed in the game. There's no point in allowing yourself to be killed and sitting in the same spots all the time. You need to get closer to the enemies sometimes during the battle in order to make sure that you can get those effective shots to kill the enemy. If you're closer, you've got a shorter time between firing and the shell hitting, and that means it's slightly easier, well, much easier, to actually get direct hits. And of course, direct hits means that you could possibly end up with a medal. So I hope you enjoyed that replay, but I've got another one for you. Yes, because he's been actually fairly busy. Talon sent in a second replay, and we'll watch that one right now. The second replay is on the El Halluf map, and we're on the north spawn. And this is the Hummel, the tier 6 German SPG. It's got the stock barrel, which of course is the correct gun for the Hummel. If you use it with the top gun, you actually have a lower trajectory. With the stock gun, you've got the same trajectory as you get on the gorilla, which means that you get a much more accurate shot and you get a faster reload. The trade-off is that you have to get closer to the enemy, and of course you get less damage, but you also get more shells to play with, and that's even better still. An enemy tank has been spotted. It's an MV55, the Swedish tank destroyer. He's landed in a tier 6 game with only tier 6 tanks in it, and he put that shell where the IKV was last seen, so yes, he more than likely damaged him with some splash. Got a T-37 here hiding behind a rock, but he's not hiding from Talon, because of course Talon can fire over that rock. T-37 goes down. Now he can hit that Crusader, just he's dialed in, rounds out. Can he hit him? Yes, he can, and he's got his kill. You see, it doesn't matter if you hide behind a rock. If he'd been firing with the top gun, he wouldn't have been able to hit those tanks. With the stock gun, the gorilla gun, he can hit them, and he can kill them. Okay, he's loaded, rounds out the Porlak. The Porlak gets warning and pulls back, only gets stunned. Okay, he had a quick look at that OI. He's quickly checking all the targets that he can hit to see if there's any chance that he can get a shot on target. He's almost loaded. It looks like this VK is being very cheeky because he's come around the corner to try and take our VK out. But Talon's loaded and rounds out. And Talon takes him out as well. So he may have got our VK, but we got him. In fact, Talon got him with a very nice shot. Right on target. So he started off with a very fast game. And look at this. We've got an OI sitting over there on the other side of the battlefield, thinks he's supreme with all that armor. No, he's not. Not with shells like this coming in. And that's 146 hit points. It didn't pen, but you can see the mark where it left, where it impacted on the body of the tank. And that guy just moved up to derp and pulling back into cover. Talon's going to take advantage of that because he can see where this guy's pulling forward and moving back. He just got hit, rounds out. It lands just in front of him. Now Talon can't hit the Porlak because he's using that rock face as a shield, but he can definitely hit this OI. And he's almost loaded. That quick reload really does make it effective. Standard reload is 25.31. Talon's got 20.51. Another near miss stuns the enemy. Oh, and he's gone. The kill shot came in from our T-3485, and now the Porlak's in trouble. And Talon can hit him now because he's moved to a point where Talon can get the shell on target. Oh, unfortunately it hits the rock face, but it was very well aimed because you can see the green line stops at the tank, not the rock face. It's a very difficult shot as well. And the Porlak's gone. Okay, so if Talon wants to get hits on the enemy, he's going to have to move a bit closer. The enemy are retreating back to their own cap area. I have the feeling Talon may cut the corner here, try and get down into the valley to shoot up onto the enemy, but no, he's decided to stop here just for the moment. And he can hit most of these enemy tanks, including this T-3485, who's trying to escape down into the valley at the other end. Okay, can definitely get a shot into there. Fires the round in. Direct hit! 55 hit points from a direct hit. It hit the top armor. He's now going after the SU-100. Notice how the reticules become flattened. That's because he's at maximum range, and it will get flatter and flatter until it gets a line, and then you're at max range and you can't shoot any further. Okay, that IKV's moved into a position for a shot. Talon fires this round in. Direct hit! And he penetrated him for 444. I know it's a penetration because the Alpha's 480 and he got 444, which is a low roll. Now, there's an enemy Cromwell just behind that rock face there. It's a difficult shot. Talon fires the round in, does get some damage. The enemy Arty, the M44, just got taken out. One of them did, rather. They've got two enemy Artys. The other one's an FV304. And Talon's now going down into the valley because the only way he can get close enough to get shots on them is to get much closer. Okay, this is a good spot because he's got cover from the bushes and everybody is now in range. He's looking for a target. You can see the IKV, but he's actually was looking at the SU-100 instead. This guy's a one-shot. Okay, let it dial. Rounds out, looks good. It is a kill. Nice. And there's the Burt running for his life. He's trying to get away. Oh, you useless player. He deliberately ran himself off the map to kill himself. What a fool. You don't do that in this game. You try and get as much hit points as you can, and if you have to die, die in a glorious way by either, ramming into the enemy or doing something absolutely hilarious. But you don't just drive off the map. It's a total waste. It shows how bad a player you are if you have to commit suicide. Oh, that was close. Yep, he stunned him, and he got the stun assist from that big derp there. The derp, I think, came from the KV2. Oh, and the SU-100 is on his last legs now. If Talon can get the round on target, he might get a splash kill. Okay, he's lining him up. He fires snap. Well, the last enemy is down, and that's it. Game over. It's a victory. 3 kills for Talon. Here's the end of battle stats, and that was a second-class tanker for talon1958 in the Hummel, and he said it's his best game of the week so far. He got a Bruiser medal for getting at least 5 critical hits. In fact, he got 10 in this one. And he got a win rate of 1,442. Now, that's not as big as the last game where he was actually into the 1600s, but it's still a good game nonetheless because he was very effective. Let's have a look at team score. Well, we can see he didn't get the highest damage in the game. He actually picked up only 889. The highest scorer in the game was the T-3485M on his team. He got a high caliber for 2,538 hit points. Second highest damage was the Porlak tank on the enemy team. 1,946 to him. And the third highest, well, that was the Hellcat with 1,560. When it came to kills, he was in joint second place because the T-3485M got 4 kills, so he was lead scorer. And in second place, we've got the KV2, and then we've got Talon, both with 3 kills apiece, sharing their spot with the SU-100 on the enemy team. The last enemy alive, he got 3 kills as well. And then we've got 2 kills for that Porlak. And when it came to base XP, he's in third place because the top scorer was the T-3485M. He got 1,312 base experience points. The only player to get over 1,000, and shows that he's actually quite effective with that premium tank. 775 went to the heavy tank number 6, and then we've got 684 for Talon, making him 3rd place in this game. He fired 14 rounds, got more rounds out, and I think he had more fun as well because he was getting some lovely shots. 5 direct hits on the enemy, 2 penetrations. I think we saw both of those penetrations. Very good one. He hit the IKV-65 too. That guy, he actually got 2 penetrations on, would you believe it? The first one was actually right at the start of the game, I seem to recall. That it was the same tank that he fired at. It looked as if it impacted the ground, but I think he actually did pen the guy. And then the second one, of course, when the guy was aiming and the shell hit him directly and he got 444 from that. So 2 penetrations. Or was it they actually got the shot, not at the start of the game, but the later one in the game when he finished him off. I think it was the other way around, actually. I think it was more likely that he penetrated him for 444. Then the second shot was the kill shot. That was a penetrating round as well. Anyway, going back to the details, we can see he also got 10 splash. Damage of 889 hit points, all of it at more than 300 meters. Damage 8 to the enemy, kill 3. So he's close to getting a Confederate medal in that one, but just missed out because he killed more tanks than he actually expected to. And he got 787 hit points to stun assist off 9 stuns. He earned 34,193 credits on a premium count for the battle, and after resupply of ammunition took away 27,123 credits profit, 1,026 XP, times 2 for the first victory, 2,052 experience points altogether. So sadly, I'm afraid it means that Angelina's still in the lead. She's still got a first class and a Confederate, and Talon's not been able to match that yet, but he did send me in another replay, so we'll watch that one right now. The third game is on Karelia Encounter. Game on. 2 marked barrel on an SU-8, Tier 6 Soviet SPG. Talon's pulling out all the stops. He's trying every Arty he can to get at least a first class so he can beat Angelina, or at least a first class, and to get a couple of medals to go with it. Okay, looking for a target, and he's found one. It's an AMX 12 ton. Now he is dialing in quickly because this Arty does dial in quickly, and unfortunately that shell was just a fraction of a second too late. The AMX 12 ton was doing a very suicidal run in the direction that he drove because, of course, he was bound to get spotted by most of the team and then taken out. Talon's loaded. He's going for a KV-13. Nice hit. 172 from that one. I think it's always worth aiming for the top of the horseshoe at the start of a Karelia game because nearly always somebody will try to make their way up there. The only Karelia game you don't aim for the top of the horseshoe, of course, is the assault game because there's no point. Well, that KV-13's met a bitter end. He got taken out by the VK-3002 on our team, and in fact with 3 up on the enemy at the moment. So it's actually turning out to be quite a fast battle, but in a bad way for the enemy team. And that's also bad for Talon because he needs to get lots of hits in order to get his high result. Before he can even shoot, that enemy Type 62 died. So he didn't get anything off that. The shell he fired actually ended up just hitting the ground after or near the wreck. Unfortunately, the only enemy tank he can see at the moment that he can hit is the Striv 74, and he's dialing in as fast as he dare. Or as fast as he can. He's almost there. Okay, rounds out. This should hit. It does. 249 from a splash. He's lost. He's getting some good figures. 421 hit damage so far, 673 assist. Gonna go for it again. Rounds out. And that one landed near the Striv. He's just found another target to fire at. The Striv just died. He's gone to a Tiger 1. So that Tiger 1's had more than 1 kill now. And he's now going for the VK-3601H. There he is. He's still there. Lobs the round in. Lands next to him for 40 hit points. Again, He's got to hit as many of the enemy as he can to get that Confederate medal. He needs a medal to go with whatever score he's doing, and he needs to be as active as possible as well. There's a fast mover, it's a Hellcat. He needs to lead the target. Oh, guys, stop. Okay, so we can fire direct. Rounds out. This should be a hit. Oh, it hits the rock face instead. Didn't work out to his favor, and now he's going for an IKB, but the IKB is getting hit, and it looks like, yeah, he's out the game. Now, there's a tree knocked over here, and that more than likely is the enemy Arty. There is an enemy Arty in the game. It's a Hummel. Oh, he got the kill! He got a direct hit on the enemy. He's completed. Well, there's no two Arty, so he doesn't get a counter battery medal, but he has completed his counter battery task. He fires at the Nashorn, who pulls away, but then drives into the spot, and the shell hits the rock face again. Oh, he's not getting much luck at the moment, and well, the enemy team are being monstered because we're now 5 tanks up on the enemy. I go for the Nashorn. It's low hit points, but he's very close to being wiped out. Rounds out. Nope, didn't get that one. It wasn't close enough. It was close, but not close enough to do any damage. And the Nashorn is gone, and that means now there's only 2 enemy tanks left. A Jagdpanther and a Black Prince. And we're on the Jagdpanther at the moment. Talon's loaded, but he's not dialed in yet, so he needs to get dialed in. He's ready. Rounds out. Direct hit. 252, and he dies immediately afterwards. So that one does count towards his total. But sadly, the other enemy, the Black Prince, has gone, and it's a victory. Yet another fast battle because his team were just too good. And as a result, Talon, even though he pumped out as many shells as he could, only got a 3rd-class tanker out of that one, as well as a bruiser medal for getting at least 5 critical hits. In fact, he got 6. And his win rate, again, was only 1,573, not getting much luck. But he did get a blind kill, as he said, yes, because he took out the enemy Hummel, and he did it with a blind shot. If we look at the team score, we can see that he didn't get the highest damage in the game. In fact, he wasn't really near it because there were 3 members of the enemy team who managed to get more than him and 3 members of his own team. And in actual fact, that puts him in 7th place overall. The high scorer in this game was the Tiger 1, who got a high caliber for 2,679 hit points. Second highest damage was the Black Prince on the enemy team with 1,654. And the third highest damage was the Nashorn, one of the tanks he was actually aiming for, who got 1,397 out of that game. Talon in 7th place got 1,048. When it came to kills, it was the Tiger 1 who did the best with 5. 3 kills went to the Black Prince, 2 kills went to the Super Hellcat, the VK3002D, and also the KV-1S on their team. Talon only got 1 kill, but it was the Arty, so at least he bettered his opposite number on the enemy team. When it came to base XP, he's in 4th place because the Tiger 1 got 1,230, the AMX1375 got 780, and then the VK3002D got 643, with Talon getting 640, only 3 experience points behind the VK. He fired 12 rounds in this game, got 3 direct hits on the enemy, 1 penetration. I'm pretty sure that penetrating shot will be the Hummel. Yep, it was a direct hit right on him and went straight through the armor because, of course, as you know, RTs don't have much armor. They have to keep the weight down because the artillery piece, the howitzer, is so heavy that the vehicle wouldn't be able to move very easily. And in fact, that's the reason why a lot of Arties are reduced in speed. He also got 6 splashes as well, 1,048 hit points, all of it at more than 300 meters. He damaged 5 of the enemy, killed 1, so he came very close to getting a Confederate, but missed out. 673 hit points of damage assistance in the game, but no stun assist at all. 29,646 credits for the battle on the premium account, and after resupply of ammunition took away 18,006 credits profit, 960 XP, and times 2 for the first victory, 1,920 for mission completion, and 3,840 experience points altogether. So after 3 battles in a row, Talon hasn't got the required first class and a Confederate, which Angelina's so far been able to accumulate from that game that took place before, in fact, technically during last week. But Talon has allowed Angelina to count that one as in this week. And now he's desperately trying to catch up, and it doesn't look as if he's going to do so. So Angelina's probably going to win this week's competition. And unless Talon comes up with something late tonight, and I'll try and get it done by video tomorrow if he does, but I don't think he will. I think Angelina's got this one as well. And I wouldn't be surprised if Angelina goes online and she gets a few battles in and possibly even scores either another first class or an ace tanker. Yes, that's such things do happen. So I hope you enjoyed those 3 games. If you did, please give this video a like. Do subscribe to our channel. Leave a little comment down below because it feeds the algorithm. And thank you for watching.